We are live.
Welcome back to Patriotic Art Live. Today is a kind of different day for us. Patriotic, do you want to talk about the theme?
So this theme is probably a story that wasn't covered so much in in America, obviously, but in the UK, which I'm assuming most of the people voted on in the poll. There was after the cow cop killer,
A
cop
cow,
cop cow kiss.
a
Yeah, cop
cow.
cows killer. I don't know. It's,
Yeah.
basically, it was if you can see on my screen now.
Hmm.
I'll just turn these down slightly.
What's the story?
The story was so there's this cow that was let loose
Oh dear.
or managed to escape somehow,
Hmm.
and he wasn't really a threat, but he was, in the streets of the UK, and there was, a scene of one guy comes, runs away from him just to get out of safety, but there's no real
Sure.
danger, and
Mm,
this
mm,
cop car comes, kind of really just bulldozes it down, and
mm,
it's
mm.
just. I think what it does is highlights the. I mean, I don't know. There wasn't really a threat, and
Yeah.
it seemed just uncalled for to really just fill a
Yeah.
heavy vehicle and really just ram into this cow and
I've seen the video
damages.
myself. It's kind of bizarre. At first it looks like one of those sort of
Yeah,
something crazy, like a funny video almost. But then when you see that the cop car hit the cow and then sort of run over the front of it to like lock it under the front half of the car,
yeah, yeah,
it then it starts to look like this is kind of not. Yeah, that's a little nasty. You know. Um,
yeah. I think it highlights, highlights a number of things really with what's going on with the police, their poor training, and so I thought we'd maybe take this opportunity since it was voted on to do some form of poster or some kind of
mm,
artwork,
mm,
and talk about general policing in general in our streets, and
yeah.
obviously this kind of two-tier policing that's going off in the UK here. We
Hmm.
felt a lot, and we can maybe start talking about our favorite burgers and things like that.
Yeah, what came to mind for me was frankly the idea of just animal rights. And I mean, rights is, maybe it sounds very leftist or liberal to talk like that, but the idea of treating animals humanely, and how that's
Yeah,
actually a third position nationalist policy. So a lot of people, they when they think of 3P and nationalism and such, they don't really know what it actually is. They just hear that, like capitalists and communists use it in a bad frame. What they really mean to say is that they're talking about authoritarianism, but 3P is people first, and that's
yeah,
total nationalism. And one of the aspects of it is to be in harmony with nature. And so that's kind of the thing that came across to me, first off. So that's kind of the theme of the work that I'm going to be doing today. But I have to say, and this is no offense to, Britain or anything, but I have seen countless videos of like just horrible foibles of the UK police. Like, just, I know you guys don't have guns over there, and I've just seen like insane footage of just like them chasing around migrants that are carrying knives and things, and they just seem
yeah,
insanely inept. And I feel like the law is kind of crippling them by putting them in harm's way, but without any means to actually, use force. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah. Sure. I mean, I do get the impression that you know, they're not trained properly. Now,
Mm,
we can use an example of, I mean, most European police are the same, some with varying degrees of, uh, weaponry power, such as guns, and we don't really have guns in the UK,
yeah.
but still, even in Germany, level of training. Like we know about that story that went off with the with the Islamic attack.
That's a big story. That was only a week or
Yeah,
two ago.
which
Let's do a
which I
quick
thought this
review.
could lead into that. Yeah.
Do a quick review of that, if you would. Just tell the audience what happened.
Okay, so there was a right-wing demonstration with some stores up. It wasn't particularly busy, but just a sort of far-right group that were warning essentially against the threats of Islam and mass migration and the typical right-wing talking points.
Right.
And then there was this scuffle, and it turns out that there was a migrant, an Afghani migrant, I think.
Yeah.
And
he was a Muslim.
Yeah, clear Muslim, yeah. And
Yeah.
there's footage of him attacking these guys, and there was a scuffle, and the police kind of get involved. And this one policeman in particular really goes and pins down one of the people who
Right
were
wing.
there, the right wing white guys.
Yeah, I mean they're being attacked by a Muslim with a knife, and the police tackle the right-wing protester who's unarmed, as if he was the problem. So then,
well, that's the thing, yeah.
What happened?
So then, what basically happened is the policeman pinned this man down who was trying to actually detain or take control of the Muslim man, and the policeman got hold of this white guy, wrestled him, kind of got him to the floor and pinned him down, left himself completely vulnerable to an attack, and the actual attacker was basically free to move and took his blade and just stabbed him in the neck. And
stabbed the police officer in the neck.
Yeah, the back of the neck. Yeah, stabbed him in the back of the neck, and I didn't realize that it was too serious at the time, but it turns out he died from his injuries.
He died. Yeah,
Yeah.
So this is a perfect illustration of the EU and like how the law enforcement is set up in our countries now to protect the invaders, and then what it is ultimately is suicide. There's also footage. There's a female police officer who was running away from the scene. It's not like you're the police. You just what are you running away?
Yeah.
I understand the guy's got a knife.
Rightly so. Her instincts kicked in clearly.
Well, yeah. Actually, in some way, that was the most intelligent thing to do. But ultimately, what is going on here? It's total insanity. It's just absurdity. And it's very sad that this officer lost his life because of this foolishness.
Well, that's it though. And the problem is, they were clearly briefed, prior.
Mm-hmm.
And he, in his mind, in his consciousness, his perceived threat was the white, the white.
Yeah, the right wing protester.
We need to take care of these guys. Yeah. These guys are brutal, and they really believe that it's the people on the right wing, far right, that are the problem, that are the trouble causers, and out to. And that's the level of the brainwashing, and it cost this guy his life because he didn't perceive the most obvious threat as the knife, and it was like he was just on auto mode that was preconditioned, and he ended up taking down the wrong guy and leaving himself vulnerable.
So once again, that opens up a can of worms here about how essentially this sort of globalist brainwashing can make people see things the opposite of what they are on the face of it. That here you have a Muslim migrant attacking citizens, white citizens of Germany, with a knife openly, and then they go after the victim. They go after the protester instead of. It's just totally maddening to me. I can't really wrap my head around it, but I get how the propaganda works. I have reason to believe, I should say, that police, more so than citizens, are propagandized by their bosses and the institutions that they work for. When I say police, I mean all law enforcement. I'm talking about whatever feds and all of them, that, you know, they, you know, let's say, give them the benefit of the doubt. They mean well. They're there to do their job, and their bosses give them all kinds of training. And in the training, they say that, you know, people who don't want to pay taxes, for example, are, you know, they're going to shoot you and kill you. So you got to handle these people with extreme prejudice, you know. And no, they just, you know, recognize that taxation is theft. So it's, you know, I mean, I've come across such information before, and I'm like, wow, wild, you know, that you got to wonder, like, what these police officers are being fed, you know, what kind of bullshit that they're kind of like in the cult of globalism per se. And then, like, here, this guy lost his life for it. You know, it's the ultimate testament to the madness of the whole thing.
Yeah, I know exactly, and you can almost just picture the kind of briefing that he had before, really ready, and he's probably emotively charged himself. You know, so hyped on being the right, taking the right stance on behalf of these, you know, this new sort of wave of sort of morality. It's like a status quo morality, isn't it? And it's pitched up, heralded as the the way to be, and he's clearly just kind of bought into that. And I think I'm obviously speculating. I could be completely wrong, but that's how it came across to me in the video. And you know,
and there's countless videos of this. There's all kinds of videos of this kind of stuff too. I mean, this isn't a one-off. You know, there's some of it's extremely gruesome. You know, there's, you know, I remember seeing, gosh, this is like around somewhere around, say, like 2016. There were these African migrants in the UK. They murdered and beheaded a police officer right in broad daylight on the street. And somebody, like a journalist, had a camera and came up and said, "Why are you doing this?" And the guy was explaining about how Europe is going to become Muslim, and that they have a right as Muslims to just behead people whenever they feel like it. And then, like, some other cops came and they shot him to death. And so, like, why is it those guys have guns, but the average officer on the street does not have a gun? And, you know, it's just, again, quite gruesome. You know, it's not pleasant to watch such things. But these essentially we're forced to live with savages. You know, people that anybody with such type of ideology, in my mind, is just essentially a savage. I'd rather be in a cage with a lion or something. You know, I could at least, I mean, that might even sound a little silly, but, like, I don't think, I mean, animals kill for food and self-protection, you know, and I mean, in some cases for, you know, to establish dominance in their tribe or whatever it might be, but it's just crazy shit. Yeah.
It's interesting, to say the least, the state of policing, and I think it's just, you know, I can't see it really improving. I mean,
I don't think it's meant to improve. I think this is essentially what the system is. Like, the system itself. This is another one of those, like, third position attitudes, is that the system is meant to malfunction. And the sooner it implodes, the better. And I was very much against that way of thinking for a very long time, until I finally realized that, like, it's not going to get better. You know, it's not going to get better. So just keep your head low, you know, figure out how to survive in such a system, you know.
Well, I think that's why we're obviously build community and so on. And, but yeah, it's one thing we know. Oh, we've got the distortion again.
Oh, we're starting to get some audio grunge on my end here. But,
yeah, no, I'm not sure why.
I always feel like it's because you're so far away or something, or I'm so far away from you, and somehow that has something to do with it.
I wouldn't have thought so, to be honest. Did you turn on live mode?
I clicked on a comment from one of my followers here, one of my friends, and then suddenly your audio went south. So like I'm wondering if maybe I shouldn't do that or something. Maybe that's interfering with audio. I don't know.
Awesome.
But I think I'll play it cool. I suppose I sound okay. Do I sound okay on your end?
It's a little bit janky. It's not the best.
Wow, it's horrendous on my end. It's just like super crunchy
Yeah.
and echoey.
Yeah,
Are you
I need to
using
sort
your
this out.
usual? Are you using your normal audio setup?
Yeah, everything's normal here. Oh man, I forgot to turn the
Maybe
screen off.
maybe
Sorry
the
about this,
UK
guys. I am.
the UK police are sabotaging our stream, I guess.
Sorry, guys, for these. I left the intro screen on. Yeah, hello, guys. Good evening to Rory, Herbert, Lisa, Romford, Chief Moody, Steve West Repair Shop, Nathan Carpenter, and yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Let me ask my guest here watching this show, Hippocratic Oath, how is the audio coming across from your end? Like, can you hear both of us clearly? If you could just comment in the chat for me, please. All right. Well, he says it's scratchy, but he can hear.
Yeah, it's about.
So, let's see. So I talked about this piece right here. There's a kind of famous photo within our sphere that I think a lot of people are aware of. It's a certain historic figure. And he loved animals, and animals loved him. And somebody caught a photo of a crow that had landed. I think it's a crow. It's some kind of a bird, but it appears to be a crow that landed on his shoulder. And he was outdoors with his fellow officers, and he just has this really charming smile where he's kind of looking over his shoulder at this. So they say that animals can kind of feel what type of a person you are. You know, specifically, I think we know this about dogs and such, that like they can sense. Yeah, granted, dogs do like getting pet and they're domesticated, but I can't tell you if the bird was domesticated or something, but it really is just a lovely photo. So I'm doing a kind of a riff on that photo with this, kind of changing the mustache a little bit. But I do feel like it's a very humanized image of a certain uncle that we have, and it kind of shows that type of harmony with nature, love of nature. You know, to sort of flip it around a little bit, you can look at like industrialized farming and how that is, and how, of course, that's a delivery system for all kinds of poisons now. You know, these are things that would never occur under a third position.
As the audio is still something's not right. We're gonna fix this because it seems like we're doing it.
I'm kind of wondering if we were to pre-record a show, if we would have these audio issues. What's funny too is that before the show, when we're just chatting and getting ready, we never have this problem.
No, it's only when it goes live.
Yeah, when we go live, then like, and it's just on my end, it's pretty bad, so I'm not so sure what to do.
So yeah, I'll just talk through my art piece quickly. I just did a very rough sketch. You got the cow at the very front, and someone actually gave me the idea about pigs versus cows in a reply. Can you even hear me? You can hear my reverb coming back. Hello, hello.
I hear you, but it's
Just cranky,
psychedelic.
yeah. Oh, that's.
Yeah, it's very.
Hold up. That's turned up louder now. So, yeah, I don't know.
I guess if you want me to kind of, I can chat for a bit while you take a break. I don't know if maybe that'll give give your computer a chance to readjust or something. I don't know, but yeah, a lot going on right now in terms of like what's happening in the movement, what's happening around. Now, I understand that there was a big right-wing victory in a lot of places in Europe. There was, some recent votes, and it's looking like there's perhaps a right-wing victory, a move to the right. I think Europeans and Americans are pretty, all awoken now to what's going on in general. It's really just the news that lies to us and tells us, oh no, it's not that way. But the numbers are showing otherwise. I saw a very, very great uh, speech by Marie Le Pen, and it was really openly nationalist and openly anti-migrant.
Donald, I'm going to just quickly try and log out and come back in. Bear with me.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Let's just see if that works.
Yeah, actually, at the moment, your voice sounds fine. That's weird. It just suddenly.
Well, yeah. So just Okay, we'll give it a few minutes. But if it continues, I'll
All right. Well, all right. So, like, let me ask you: are you aware of these right-wing victories in the voting in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of stuff that's going on. I always feel somewhat. Let me jump. Sorry, guys, for the GPS.
Yeah, I don't know how to resolve
Bear
this.
with me 1 second. I'll leave the stream and.
But Marie Le Pen was just pretty much saying, like, we're sending them all back, and I was like, kabang! Wow, that's the kind of talk we need. So, like, for example, Nick Fuentes is pretty much the voice of the right at the moment. I'm not like a groyper, but like he seems to be taking center stage. Part of that, I do kind of wonder how much of that is allowed by the mainstream media, and how much of it is real per se. But he's saying, like, we're not voting Trump until Trump you know makes it clear to us that there's not going to be any war with Iran, and that he fulfills his promises. That it turns like the wall was never built. There's a number of things that when you do your research, you see that Trump didn't deliver on quite a lot. And then when, of course, you see how he is so tied in with the who's, both through family marriages and various, and like the people that's in his cabinet, etc. It's I'm just not feeling very good about Trump at the moment. So I'm gonna put my everybody on stage here in just a second. Can you say hello?
Hello, yes, you can say hello.
Sorry, it's the same audio garble.
Yeah, that way. I have no idea what the problem is.
Hold on a second here. Let's see, I'm trying to change my layout. Okay, there we go.
So yeah, carry on talking, I guess. What you're saying about Trump. Yeah, I mean, I find it hard to trust anyone in the political spot.
Right. I mean, to me, like politicians are sociopaths. I just don't. I'm sure there's some good ones, but it's so off the charts. You know, I don't know what it is, but I suppose when you're brought up to be good, you know, be a good Christian and be ethical and just and all the rest of that good stuff. You know, follow the rules, etc. In a sense, it's like a gigantic trap in a way to kind of divert you from the people, the sociopaths who use the system. You know, I'm not saying all police officers are like this, but the police officers who are really technically criminals using their status as police officers to do nefarious things. In my job, I've come across people like that. That's just another story, but wow, it's out there. That kind of stuff is out there. So I don't know, and in another way, I also feel like, what if you're a cop and you see a wild cow running around the streets in a panic? Literally, what do you do? I mean, that's kind of a tripped out situation. I would expect that there are protocols for something of that nature. That there must be some kind of
well, I get they probably try to act in the safety of the general public. This looks more like a dog than a cow. Sorry, I'm not even using reference. I should
again, like,
some reference.
If he had what do you call it, like tranquilizers, like that, that's. So, for example, where I live, every once in a blue moon, a bear will kind of wander out of the woods and kind of walk into town, and it might climb a tree, and and it just doesn't know what it's doing. It accidentally kind of walked into civilization, and you're going to call the police, but then the police will call like animal rescue services, SPCA, anything, organizations of that nature. And they know what to do. They'll have the tranquilizer darts that they shoot. They might set up some kind of a tent, not a tent, but like something for the animal to, like in this case, when a bear will fall out of a tree, something soft to land on. And these things happen. And so, like, they know what to do. And I think essentially that's what they're supposed to know. They're supposed to know, like, what if this happens? Okay, what do we do in that case? Right? Isn't that their job?
Yeah, well, it's having discernment, isn't it? And they don't seem to have much discernment. They seem to act just brutish, apart from when it comes to certain untouchables. It's like they've got a it's like they've got a list of people that they can really police, and then people that they have to be extra careful with. And it seems that when it comes to the defenseless, or those that aren't really given the same protective rights, it's like the migrations and stuff from the Palestinians. Although apparently they're cracking down on them now, but that's only because of their their animosity towards Israel. It's got nothing to do with justice system.
Speaking of migrations of Palestinians, I just saw a news report today with like Israeli hardliners talking about how whatever Palestinians survived this genocide are going to be shipped off to Western countries. It's the usual.
Wow.
It's the usual. It's just the usual. Like go in and brutalize Muslim peoples, and then send the rest of them off to Western countries. Like we're the dumping grounds for this. Now,
Yeah.
I'll say another thing on that.
But it's part of Zionism, isn't it? That's what Zionism is. It's
Sure.
They are trying to create this Zionist utopia state in that land, that region, as the kind of hub. And I think the dumping grounds is Europe. The old world kind of system that is.
You look at some of the comments in the chat here. Getting back to Trump, Splattercat says Trump was a disappointment. I'm still voting for him due to lack of better options, though. Am I wrong for thinking this? So I'm at a place where I think that voting is like the adult version of writing a letter to Santa Claus. I feel that the last election, 2020 election, was openly stolen, openly and clearly robbed. And then now with Trump being like super pro Israel, like he's literally saying publicly, finish the job, quickly, finish the job quickly. We got to win, and like winning is genociding people. So how do you not know what the hell's going on? I can't make excuses for him. I feel like someone of his stature and power should not be ignorant about Zionism and the way that works. I did see a report in a Jewish newspaper that something like 2 years ago he converted to Judaism. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know that I believe that, honestly. I think that could just be baloney. But where I'm going with all of this is that he's just not showing America first as his priority. He's showing Israel first, like more openly. And that's where Nick Fuentes is like, look, we as a movement are not voting for you until you get your priorities straight, and we need to guarantee this. So, there's my thinking is Trump is, this is my prediction, he will be allowed to win. He will be placed into the presidency because of the way the last 4 years have gone. And people will flock to him just like eagerly. Oh, Trump, save us, save us. And then he'll be the Pied Piper doing the will of Israel in the next whoever knows how long after that. So that's one potential outcome. Another thing that we're looking at is potential war. If America is at war, I forget the name of it, but there's a policy that some sort of emergency policy where they hold off on the election, and the powers, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, that's another possibility. They just instituted the draft for women, and it's just you don't know everything. The ultimate goal essentially is depopulation. It's to knock the world population down 2/3, and they're well on their way with that. All of the deaths going on with the jab, blah blah blah. We know about that, but a big world war would really move the chess pieces around exactly how the Zionists want it to be. And taking hegemony away from America, putting it in Eurasia. Of course, America is supposed to go in and destroy Iran, and then Israel will come and take that, and that's the Greater Israel Project. Anyone can look that up, the Greater Israel Project. And they want to take several countries in that area, even part of Egypt and the Nile, and then over into they believe that it's their right that they own that land, blah blah blah. But of course, that's like the center of oil for the globe. We're all like I mean, I'm sure there's oil in other places. I'm aware of that, but that's a big, for Eurasia, that is the spot where the oil is. But it's deeper than that. It's a religious ideology, which to me is really ultimately a political ideology of global enslavement. We generally know these things. The question is, how are they going to accomplish them? You know, and I don't have a crystal ball. I don't, maybe I could call my Fed friend and he could tell me, get some info and pass it down. I can share it with you guys. But I don't know. We'll see. I think you just read the signs. It's just life right now is just duck and cover. It's just duck and cover because like the shit is hitting the fan. Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
For positive, Mr. Happy.
No, I agree. It's just hard to follow and get into the stream because the sound's just so tinny and just something's not right. We can't have a conversation.
I'm begging somebody to like make me see the positive. Right? I'm begging for it. It's really hard to see what's going on. Let me get back to the comments here. How long will Fuentes hold out? I have my doubts, and can easily see him running back to Papa Trump. I don't disagree with that. I think part of Fuentes' whole thing, I guess, is power in a sense, is that he does have a table at Trump's table, or a chair at Trump's table. That he's had dinner with Trump. He's done things like you don't get to be that popular for nothing. Like somehow or other, there's somebody behind there pulling strings, and I could be wrong, but this is generally how it works. And I don't know. I mean, I think he wants to like Trump, and as we all do. We all want to go back to 2017 when we were riding high, and we thought we were winning, and all of this other stuff. We want that back again, But anyway, we'll see. And then hold on here. Splattercat says they want our people gone to make room for their own. Yes. Hippocratic Oath says Peter Thiel of Palantir is all over Trump. I think they want digital IDs implemented, and only Trump can convince the right. It's as good as the vax. Yeah. So Trump was pro-vax. We have to remember that. Like he was pro-vax. Like he didn't backpedal on that. He didn't apologize for that. I feel like there's something about Trump where he really wants to be popular. He wants to just kind of like whatever everybody says, I'll go along with it. Kind of. That's sort of the marketing genius of Trump. Genius is a wrong word, but it's kind of the marketing nature of Trump in a sense. Again, I could be wrong, but these are my impressions. I just keep thinking, like, can I make excuses for this guy? Does he not know? How can he not freaking know? How can Trump not know about Zionism and the Jews and the way it all works? How can he not know that? So, I just we make excuses for boomers. We're like, oh well, he's old, and he's out of he doesn't use the internet. He doesn't know how to use the internet. And therefore, we don't expect him to know what's going on. He's a boomer, But to me, that's just bogus. I don't buy that. I will give him the benefit of the doubt in the case where he had a very bad cabinet in the start, and a lot of them he kicked out. A lot of them turned on him. I think he seemed to be like a newcomer to Washington and the way it works. And I'm going to go in there and drain the swamp. And then the swamp was like, nah, no, you're not. And so that's a thing, I guess. That's a possibility. But I just I'm not on the Trump train anymore, which is really rough because, like, my friends now are all Trumpers, like from so many years of all the shit that we've been through. And if I had to turn around and say, well, I'm not on the Trump train, then, like, I lost all my friends before Trump, and now I'm going to lose all my friends now from, what I'm saying? It's just because people just can't they can't wrap their head around. They can't seem to accept the fact that the crux of the matter is Zionism. And until you recognize that fully, you're not sitting at the adult table. You know what I'm saying? You're still in like fantasy land, and that's just it's how it is. It's how it is. So we'll see where it goes. But I think that what's really more interesting to me is Nick Fuentes' Christian nationalism. There's a very, very, the more you look into the psyops against Christianity, it really points out how the Zionists fear Christianity, and that in turn tells us this is a power that we need to harness as kind of, like I say, Christian nationalism. And I think you could probably speak to that better than I can, but I just had a kind of a really nice hangout session with some very, very good nationalist friends of mine. And one of them, who I respect very, very, very highly, he says that he's converting to Catholicism. And I was like, what? I mean, if you knew the guy, that gets shocking. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's like if you knew the guy, you'd be shocked to hear that. So, like I do my research and he does his research, and they're, different fields, if you will, to some extent. And so he's been looking into this, and he found he found an answer for himself. But what he's trying to kind of impress upon me is how it plays a significant role in the nationalism to come. It plays a significant role in the effort to save whites and Western civilization. And I'll be honest, but then he goes on to kind of explain about how the Jews have cucked the church and all this kind of infiltration stuff that's very, things I'm aware of. I think a lot of us are aware of. It's still, for me, in my mind, a lot of it is very tangled and not clear, and so I don't have my answers per se. I can see that politically, Christianity is a force that is really strong and important and central to Western identity, and on and on. So I always kind of come back to the same questions of, well, how do we, sort of turn the other cheek and blah, 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 all this kind of lovey-dovey stuff, when really what we need is revolution, because we're being killed. And like, you're not gonna, I just don't believe you're gonna solve the problem by being nice to your enemies. They want that. They want you to, roll over, so to speak.
I think to be honest, a lot of the teachings were geared towards loving your brother, and so by loving your brother, part of that is forgiveness, and you can still have a brother who is an enemy. If you have an outright brother an enemy who isn't your brother, I don't think these turning of the cheek rules apply. I think really that those teachings were kind of geared towards creating a cohesive sense of brotherhood that we're intended to gel with and we're to be at peace with.
Yeah.
So if we've got an overall kind of common enemy that isn't part of that, great.
Here's another side to this whole thing, is that so many people have fallen away from Christianity. That's essentially what liberals are. And then even just kind of your average person, I think society has been re-engineered where that's taken out of the equation per se. And we're culturally Christian, but we're not esoterically Christian per se. And we're not politically Christian in the sense that we know that we're in a civilizational war with Islam and Judaism. Instead, it's Judeo-Christianity, you know, which is the psyop. You know, that's the psyop. But these are the things that are happening. These you look at Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, and a number of people like Jake Shields, Stu Peters.
Yeah, the MMA guy. Jake Shields, the MMA guy.
I don't know about an MMA guy, but I'm not.
Jake Shields was a former MMA fighter. Yeah.
Was he really? Oh, okay, because like he's
Yeah.
a big figure on Twitter now. If that's the same guy.
Yeah, I noticed, but his main following, or if you look up Jake Shields MMA, he was quite an athlete that was.
Yeah, you know, I'm not like an MMA guy, so I wouldn't know stuff like that. But that's fine. That's fine. I got some celebrity. What I'm discovering though is that what was it? Oh gosh, I was online and had some conversation, and somebody was saying, "Wow, the Overton window is really moving. Like, look at this person's calling out the Zionists," and it's sort of someone who was essentially like a patriotic normie. And I said, well, you know, now that Candace Owens and the rest of them are starting to call out, you know, Zionist hegemony, that makes it okay. Like that, it's the signal, you know. And I'm annoyed that people are such freaking sheep that they can't just, you know, they don't have the smarts or the balls basically to just do that on their own, you know. But it's you know, the sooner we accept the fact that no, they can't. That's not how we operate. We're conformists. You know what I mean? That we're not individualists in this regard. It looks like individualism on the outside, but bullshit. If you were a true individualist, you'd fucking say the truth and not care. Not care about the consequences. You know, but that's not how it works. You know, I had a drink with an old friend over the weekend, and I was talking about demographics, how like in my neighborhood now you see black people from the ghetto that just come to my neighborhood and they go door to door knocking on the door. They're not wearing any kind of uniform, like, oh, I'm from Amazon or something, you know. I mean, they're so bold, you know, that they can just walk right up to your door, you know, right up to your door, and you're like, yeah, I'm coming here to take what I want and kill you if it pleases me. You know, that's where we're at. And my friend, he's pretty wealthy, so what was it? He was like, I know this is true, and I'm scared, but I don't know what to do. You know, I don't know what to say. I'm afraid even to talk about it. And you know, because of course you don't want to be weird or, you know, like, you know, not socially acceptable. Blah, blah, blah. But this is it. This is kind of the crisis of our people, is that is a type of like we're not individualists, we're conformists, you know, and that's a problem. So once it becomes normal to say these things, okay, you know, when everybody collectively says, you know, all foreigners out now and forever, you know, then it's going to happen. Until then, it's just everybody's looking over their shoulder, like, oh, is it okay to say this now? Is it okay? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Do what you can. You know, for me, that's deeply frustrating. But I can't, you know, just can't deny the fact of it. You know? So I'm going to respond to a few more things here. I do want to go back real quick to what Hippocratic Oath was saying. This is a brilliant concept. He's saying that they want Trump in because he will be the one to sell their ideas of the digital ID. The digital ID is extremely important to push forward the whole plan of control, the Agenda 21 from the United Nations, all of it. And that scales up and scales up. It's real small. So like, you know, oh, it's easy, nothing, that's no big deal. It's, you know, go ahead and do it. That's a small thing. And then, you know, 3 months from now, oh, you know, we're adding this thing. Oh, we're upgrading it. Oh, get your new upgrade. Oh, did you pay this thing? Or did you da 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 da? and it's a boiling frog. It's just like every other damn thing that they do, you know. So I'm this is a really, really good take, is what I'm saying. So Splitter Cat adds here, Catholicism and Orthodoxy are our only potential allies within Christianity. Protestants are almost fully on board with Zionism. I think I was told, my friend that I mentioned who is converting to Catholicism, he said that Protestantism was created by Zionists. You know, I don't know that. I don't have the historic knowledge to prove or disprove that. But I was like, whoa, oh, you know, holy crap, you know. But the other thing is, like, the church, the Catholic Church of, like, you know, 1055 or whatever is different from the Catholic Church of 2024. You know, things are different, right? So, you know, he's more into like the Latin Mass and this whole other aspects. So I guess I've never really fully been able to I don't know what the word is, but like to put together spirituality and politics in the sense that one is the, you know, spirit and the other is the body. One is, you know, esoteric and one is materialist. And one is peace and one is war. And how the fuck do you make those things work? You know, it's very, very fucking frustrating. Especially when your people are dying and you're the one on the chopping block. You see what I'm saying? So it's easy to like live on a mountain and you know, the Zionists, that's what, like, they love Buddhism, for example, because, oh yeah, just fade away. Just don't do anything, don't feel anything, don't say anything, you know, be non-violent and just fade away. That's what we want you going to do, is disappear, die off. And so that's not going to work. You know, that's not going to work. Granted, you know, I sort of come from the Shaolin tradition, which is martial, you know, and I know, you know, about that, but blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so my phone battery is dying too on top of it. Boy, we're having a great technical issue show today. That's the special feature of today's show is technical difficulties. Let's move on. Your friend chose a hard time to convert to Roman Catholicism. Even Catholics are predicting apostasy and cardinal versus cardinal. I don't understand what you're talking about. The Fatima prophecies are brutal. So they did mention the Fatima prophecies in this recent hangout talk that we had. And I don't know what they are, so I can't actually, you know, speak to that. But yeah, I guess whatever. I mean, this is what's going on. So to me, that's about your eternal soul. That's about the life after this life. And how do you do what you need to do to protect your people and your civilization, you know, in this world, and secure a place in everything else, because they seem contradictory to me so far. You know what I mean? Am I wrong? I don't know. Julie Dixon is here. Sound is bad. Yeah, is it my sound or is it? Damn, dude. I mean, I do.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
It's a bummer. I think we should probably wrap it up as well, just because like we're plagued with this audio trouble today, and I don't know what to do.
Well,
you're very, very far away. You're not in the UK. You're much farther away, and doing a live show from that distance, I just don't think the technology is really doesn't seem to be.
Bro, it's nothing to do with the distance. I'm pretty sure you've got internal servers. I mean,
but we've had lots of good shows before, so I don't know why this.
No, we have. They've generally been all right, but I don't know. I suspect it's got something to do with your phone, though. To be honest, it's not a traditional setup.
All right, I guess what
I don't know.
I'm gonna have my camera and do this with a proper camera. The cameras that I have are just
because of the phone audio, it can get interfered with quite easily, and so I think it kind of jars
All right.
the
So I can barely understand what you're saying. So why don't I'm going to wrap it up right now. And then what I'll try to do is invest in a better camera and not use the phone. That should hopefully solve the problem. I just want to say hello to Julia and thank her for joining me. Hopefully there was some value to the show. There's lots and lots of other shows that you can enjoy in the Patriotic Art Live playlist, and of course other elsewhere. But please check those out. I think that's really cool. Hippocratic Oath says the picture of Uncle A is excellent. I don't know how you talk and create at the same time, dude. It's like riding a unicycle and juggling. It really is. Julia says it's beautiful. Are you selling it? I can sell it if you would like to buy it. I would gladly sell it to you. What you would need to do is go to my website, kent-art.weebly.com. That's actually, if you look at my name down in the bottom left corner, where you see kent-art.weebly.com, that's my website. So go ahead and hit that up. There's a contact button there. You email me, contact me, and we'll work something out for you. Okay? That would be lovely. All right. So on that note, I apologize for the tech issues, guys. I love you all. Keep your head down. Survive.
Yeah, we'll try and be back next week. I think we'll do a couple more good tests.
All right. Thanks, Julia. And thanks to Patriotic and Hippocratic Oath, Splatter Cat, all my friends. Love you guys. And we'll see you again on the internet. Adios.
Yes. Hello, hello. Is that